With Pradita Bedgewell and Shayla O'Keefe. How are you guys today?
Good, how are you?
Good. Okay, I just want to talk about you guys and what you do here. So to introduce yourselves, your majors, and what you're involved in on campus.
Sure.
My name is Pradita Bedgewell. I am a junior here. I have a double major in design, arts and technology and psychology. Some involvements is I'm of course part of BU Leads for Women in Leadership, but I'm also the vice president for AAAC, which is our Asian American Student Union. I'm also junior representative for our Student Government Association as well.
And I'm Shayla O'Keefe. I'm, of course, involved in BU Leads with Pradita. I'm also SGA Junior Representative and Mission BU Chair, and I'm also part of the DAT organization and work in the Writing Center here.
Yeah. Okay, so talk about a little bit about why you got into women in leadership specifically.
Sure, I can start. So we have elections for BU Leads every year around March, and when it came time for election season last year, I was really interested in women in leadership because I had been a participant in the Banquet and the retreat for women in leadership the last 2 years, so I knew that it was an event that I really loved. It was super fulfilling, being in a room with a bunch of inspiring women on campus that do so many wonderful things, and being able to facilitate that community and that connection that we have between women was just so powerful, and I really was looking for a chance to be a part of that mission and to have a role in that and be able to bring that energy on campus the next year. So.
Yeah, I got into BU Leads because my first year at the Banquet, I won the Emerging Leader Award, and I was like, this organization brings women together as a community and empowers, and I really wanted to plan the next one, and I wanted to see how planning looked and what that felt like and how I can bring women, especially in a campus where it's around like 62% women, and how that looks and what it means to uplift them, and how can I as a leader grow as myself too while empowering other women as well. And that's why I got involved with BU Leads.
Yeah. So both of you mentioned the Banquet pretty heavily. So can you guys talk about like what the Banquet is, what goes on there, and kind of like why it started?
Yeah.
The Banquet in general is an evening all about women and celebrating women.
Mm-hmm.
So specifically faculty and students on campus. So we bring in a guest speaker, and she talks about her experience as a woman in leadership. We have a dinner. It's totally free for students, and it's like a really fun event that women on campus can dress up, meet with their friends, network with other people, take cute pictures, and just have a wonderful time with each other. And we also have little conversation cards that at their tables they can meet new people, they can talk about things that are important in their lives and experiences that they've had, and kind of learn from each other and build off of each other's ideas. So it's just supposed to be an evening of big community building and inspiration, and to especially carry us through the rest of the semester for us students as well, and just kind of reinvigorate and refresh us as women together on campus. So.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit more about the guest speaker that you all had, who they are, what they talked about, what they represent, and also talk about how you guys found this person and got them to come do this.
Do you want me to? Sure. Okay, so we had Miss Carmela Jackson Hurley. She is a family therapist from the Louisville area. She went to Berea College, and she is a fantastic woman. I was literally on Google, and I was like, okay, I found this organization. It was 300 for 300, which is a nonprofit organization for young leading women here in Louisville, for high school students from middle to high school. And Dr. Diane Carrington, yes, she was on the board previous years ago, and then she was like, I still love the organization, but I'm not with them, but I can introduce you to someone who is there. So she introduced us to Carmela, and then after that, then she was like, okay, I can talk about my experiences with them. And then after that, 300 for 300 were also connected with us as well. And then we also donate $500 to that nonprofit organization as well. And yeah, but that's how we found Carmela.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
She's beautiful all the time. And she has the cutest kids ever. But yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I went last year, the guest speaker was also so good. I feel like they're always so inspiring and so interesting to listen to. Talk about a little bit when you guys obviously found this guest speaker, and you guys have to do a lot of planning really far ahead. Kind of talk about how you guys split up the responsibilities, how far ahead do you start planning, kind of talk about what goes into the planning process for this event.
Yeah. Sure. We started over the summer for both the retreat and the Banquet. The retreat is the event that we have in the fall for women identifying leaders. But for the Banquet, we started in July-ish, and we met over FaceTime and just talked about what our vision would be, and just things that we wanted, goals that we had, just like very, broad brainstorming. And we came up with the theme over the summer, which was A Night in Paris, because we were kind of looking for like a more magical feel, kind of like a starry night, late evening vibe. So that was what we ended up with that. And then from there, we just kind of made a list of things that we needed to do in order to make this happen. And then we kind of just were checking things off as time went on over the semester. I know I feel very blessed that we have like really good communication. So we, work really well together, and through the whole process, we're just talking about like, what have we done this week? What do we still need to do? We text each other all the time. Even some nights it's like midnight, 11 p.m. We're like, hey, how are we doing with this? Do we need to, do this tomorrow, kind of thing. So just always checking in with each other and making sure that we're on the same page was kind of our biggest strategy in getting
a lot of dividing and conquering happened.
Yeah, and checking in with each other.
Yeah. You mentioned those goals that you guys set very early on. Can you talk a little bit about what those goals were and kind of like how you ensured that you achieved those by the end of all of that planning?
Yeah, I think I know we talked about our biggest goal was finding a speaker. That's kind of the most difficult part about the process, because we're looking for someone who has that background, is inspiring, and is looking for an opportunity like this to share their passions and their experiences. So that was one of the biggest goals we had. We said we got to start early and look for an incredible person that would like this opportunity. So that was one of the biggest goals we had, and we started. I was on Instagram during our call, and I was looking at organizations, looking at people. Going from one website to one website. So that was a really big goal. And then after that, I would say we kind of chunked it in a way and had like goals for media and marketing. We had goals for like
how many people would attend the event too?
Catering.
Yes.
So we kind of had different chunks of like breaking the banquet down into these piles of like, okay, what's going to be decorations? What's on the table? What's catering like? How many people are coming? So from there, I think the goals just were broken down into chunks, and we were able to delegate to each other how to get it done.
But I think the biggest goal for us, like ultimately, was probably how can we empower women at the end of the day,
absolutely.
and how can we make this night magical for them, because it comes once a year, once a semester, and how can we make our beautiful starry night stars for them? And that was like our biggest goal, and I think we accomplished it.
Yeah. So kind of talk about that a little more. I wanted to mention that there's obviously a lot of events on campus and a lot of organizations that celebrate women in leadership, which is an awesome thing. Can you guys kind of talk about like why this event is so unique, and kind of talk about the way that it empowers women and women identifying leaders on campus in a different way than other organizations have?
So I think we all have the same goal ultimately at the end of the day, but the Women in Leadership Banquet has been a thing for 20 years now, and this year was our 20th one, and carrying on that tradition and legacy of those women who have passed it down to us is one of the big reasons why our event is very successful, and it's also very unique as well. And it's unique in a sense of we have a guest speaker, we're also contributing to a nonprofit, and we have awards as well, and each of those awards mean so different things, but in collaboration, they are meant for the same goal. And I think that's what makes our banquet unique from any other event that happens around campus.
Yeah, I think too, just in addition to what you said, Virginia, because that was beautiful, I think it's a really cool opportunity having the retreat and the banquet, because it combines learning from others and internal reflection and learning within yourself too. So listening to the speaker at the banquet, you're able to like kind of see yourself in things that she's saying, and apply that to your life in whatever capacity that looks like. Everyone's experiences have been different, but I feel like in the years that I've been, I was always able to reflect on something that I picked up on listening to the speaker. But then also sitting at the table with my group, we're learning from each other, we're talking, we're meeting new people. So I really like the balance that exists with these events for women, is that it's learning internally and learning externally from other people.
Yeah, I like the idea of like learning from what's going on, learning from each other, and kind of going back to learning from each other. And you mentioned the awards. Like, talk a little bit about like how are those decided? Kind of how do people get nominated for those? How are they chosen? Just kind of talk about that, because I think it's such a big part of the night to, everybody there is being recognized for being, so prominent and like a leader on campus. But these people are getting the extra mile and getting an extra award to say like you've gone above and beyond. So just kind of like talk about a little bit, how are those decided and how are those chosen?
Yeah, I think the best thing about the committee that chose the winners this year were previous winners.
Yes.
And basically we have nominations. I think we got over 44 nominations this year. That's been like the largest ever it's been. And mostly Shayla tabled a lot, and I like bumped in here and there when I could, but a lot of tabling went into those nominations. And we had a committee, and that committee consisted of faculty, staff at Bellarmine, and it was very non-biased. And they were also, a lot of the people who were in the committee were people who had already received Women in Leadership awards, which was really nice. And they decided, and they had like a point sheet and everything. And it was just a beautiful process. When Megan and Liz told us about it, they were like, it was a room filled with love and nothing else. And that's how it was decided. And once people hear their nominations during the banquet, it's just like everybody knows that person deserved it and nothing else. But yeah.
And Megan and Liz are our advisors for this role, and they are amazing and provided nothing but the most wonderful guidance through this whole process. So in addition, like PB and I aren't part of that committee either, so it remains completely non-biased. So as you said, like past winners are on that committee, and you know, as they have won the award before, you know, they have credibility in this, and they are looking to inspire and uplift other leaders like they have been. So it's a really powerful committee in that way. And
I think that's such a beautiful thing of like how everyone's just excited for each other. It's not really a competition. Everyone's just excited to see everyone else shine, and I think that's such a pretty thing. So kind of going with that, what for you all was the most rewarding part of the evening? You spent all this time planning it, and now it's happening. You know, what for you guys was like we did this moment?
Shayla has one.
I can definitely pick a moment, but also just, you know, my biggest goal, like Pajita was saying, was just to have an event that everyone is able to enjoy and pull something from and learn from and just feel like connected in. So that was my biggest goal, was making sure that women felt seen and connected on this campus through these events. And so, you know, as the banquet went on, I was really, really happy because I was getting that energy and that feeling that, you know, there was excitement, there was conversation, people were liking it, and you know, Miss Jackson Hurley got a standing ovation after her speech, and that was wonderful. Rightfully so. Oh my gosh, her speech was incredible. But I was so happy that it also connected with the people in the room too. And then at the end of the banquet, Pajita invited everyone to come get a picture for all the attendees. And that moment for me was, you know, I had over there to get a picture with everyone, and I kind of looked at that group of women that was in that room, and I like started to tear up because I was like, this is such an incredible moment that all of these students and all these faculty members came out for this event, had a wonderful time. You know, they were chit-chatting and smiling, and just seeing that room full of inspiring women was really powerful to me.
My most memorabilia part about the banquet was probably the photo as well, because it was like there's 100+ women in that photo, and it looks amazing, by the way. If you guys want to look at it, go on Beely's Instagram. But that photo was very rewarding to see, and personally my favorite part was when everyone got to talk to each other in their tables. It was very like assigned seating, but not at the same time as well. And when we got our feedback, it was like we loved the assigned seating and we wanted more conversation. And the most rewarding part for me was that people wanted to talk to some people that they've like never seen before. They're like randos to them, and like literally that's like what being a woman is about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like uplifting each other, and women love to yap, and that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, I think it's cool because every person I've ever talked to that's been to any of the Women in Leadership events, especially the banquet, is always like, I met someone new that I, really learned a lot from. And I know when I went last year, like I met a faculty person that I'd never met in my life, and she was just so inspiring and had so many great things to say. And every person that's gone always tells me that they have the best time and they love being involved with it. Just kind of to wrap up, what would you all advise to someone who wants to get involved with Women in Leadership, and how do they get involved with it, and how do they kind of take that next step to do more than just show up? How can they kind of get involved with that?
There's many ways to get involved. First of all, we would love anyone that's interested to reach out to us, any of the e-board members. We have general body meetings every other Tuesday at 4:30, and that's a good way if people would like to join. Anyone can come to those meetings at any time. Be like, hey, I'm really interested in BU Leads. We will welcome them. Oh my gosh, we are so excited. So that's a really good way. Reach out on our Instagram, send us a direct message and say, hey, I'm interested. That's a wonderful way. We look at that all the time and are posting on there very frequently. And I would say specifically for women in leadership, like, you know, every woman has a story, and if you are looking to share that story and to kind of delve into this process of inspiring women on campus, then we'd love to have you. And that's just the most important part, is having that passion. So
yeah, that is so true. And Shayla and I will always be here. Like, we don't know if we're going to be in the same position or not next year, but talking to the women in leadership co-chairs is like the biggest way to get involved. And joining in on the fall retreat that we have, the women in leadership retreat, that's the biggest gateway for you to start being involved with BU Leads as a whole as well. But yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys for
so
coming.
much.
We're going to cut to a quick break, but then we're going to talk to a couple of our award winners.
Yay!
Hey Knights, welcome back. Ashley Nordman here, and I am here with Abby Bullock. So to start, why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit, tell us a little bit about your role on campus, just let us get to know you a little.
Of course. Well, I'm Abby Bullock, and I am a graduate student here on campus studying digital media, which is very exciting. But I'm also a graduate assistant in the Student Activity Center here at Bellarmine, and that has been so lovely.
Yeah, very, very exciting. So when you won this award, what were your feelings behind it? Like, were you surprised when they called your name? Were you kind of expecting a little bit? You can be honest.
So, yeah, I did get an email beforehand that said I was nominated.
Okay.
So, and they were like, you should come to the event. You were nominated so that you could be honored, which I thought, I mean, that in itself was so sweet. I was like, whether or not I'm receiving an award, this is incredible, and I cannot wait to be there. But then it shows on the slideshow that they have presenting during the event, a graduate leader. So I was like, okay, I assume this is the one I was nominated for. And then Megan Redesno, my lovely boss in the Student Activity Center, comes up and starts speaking. And I will admit, pretty soon into her speech, I'm like, I think she's talking about me, which was really sweet. Because I, in my graduate assistant position, I do things like the student activity social media, I put together the stuff to do with BU newsletters that get sent out to students. And you know, Megan mentioned those things when she was describing the person. So I was like, okay. And other people were picking up on that too, and were starting to look my way. So I think this is me. So at that point, I was like, oh my goodness, my heart started racing. And I was like, this is very sweet. So started to pick up on it at that moment a little bit.
Yeah, it's like, this sounds familiar. Yeah,
a little bit, exactly.
So you touched on a little bit that obviously it meant a lot to you to even just be nominated for such an award. But what did it really mean to actually win the award and receive the recognition for all your hard work?
Oh my gosh, it was so sweet. I mean, again, I was surprised. And I don't know why in the moment I just started getting a little emotional, which I'm surprised I don't usually get like that. I feel like in moments like that. But it was just because I'm having so much fun in this position with being a graduate assistant, and being in grad school is just an incredible opportunity. So just to hear that other people were recognizing what I've done in the Student Activity Center and just how I guess I've been living my campus life and being a college student, that people saw something in that, and just the way I'm experiencing that was really special to me. So like, oh, they saw something here that's like, you know, affecting them, and it's, you know, affecting other people, and they see something good in that. So I just thought that was special. It meant a lot to me.
Yeah, of course. Being able to really receive that recognition for all your hard work is, I'm not surprised you got emotional. That's a big deal. Yeah.
Exactly.
So you touched on it a little bit, that you have worked a lot, especially with the Student Activities Center, but what achievements do you think really did lead to you winning this award? What are some of the big projects that you're really proud of?
Yes, for sure. I mentioned how I do the student activity social media and the stuff to do with BU newsletter, and it was so sweet when Megan was, you know, talking about me when, you know, she was announcing the winner, that, you know, I've kind of really influenced just student activities and student involvement on campus through doing those things. And you know, when I was, you know, creating those emails or doing social media, I was just thinking, oh, this is just fun stuff, you know. Hopefully students enjoy these posts or have a little bit more fun with the newsletter. But I wasn't thinking, oh, what I'm doing is completely changing student involvement on campus. So when she said that, I was like, oh, I mean, that just means a lot to hear that that's what's happening with that, because I wasn't really thinking of it that way. I was like, I like to think that I was helping and contributing, of course, and I was having a lot of fun with it, but I never fully processed it, like, oh, this is actually making a big impact.
Yeah.
Is really special. So that was really great to
Definitely getting that outside perspective kind of what you are able to do is really, really interesting. I'm glad that you had that opportunity to hear that. Sometimes it helps to hear it from that outside voice.
For sure.
For sure.
Exactly.
So what has been kind of like your favorite moment or your favorite memory or your favorite time here as a graduate student? Which I know it might be hard to pick.
No,
but
sure. Oh my gosh. And so many things. Like I said, just being in graduate school here is so lovely. I mean, I've been just so thankful for just all the hands-on experience I've been able to get as a graduate student, first of all. Lovely professors as well in my classes. I've learned so much. But also just being able to have a graduate assistantship position through being a graduate student here at Bellarmine has been so special. And being in student activities specifically, getting to interact with students, I found is something really, really special to me. Because, you know, in my undergrad here at Bellarmine, I studied design, arts, technology, and communications, which that is great. I still love doing that, and I get to do that a lot. But I found one of my favorite parts of this position is just getting to talk to the students that come by, and that's really made a lot of my, I guess, grad school experience. It's just getting to know more undergrad students and support them through their involvement or just through navigating campus and college. So it's something I'll always look fondly on. It's just getting to know students.
For sure, for sure. That personal connection is so huge, and as you said, like, you've been through all of this, so helping some of the younger students kind of find their path and find their way is definitely a huge role, and I'm sure they're very thankful that you do that as well.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to future graduate students or just students in general on being effective leaders on campus and really reaching out to other people as you have?
For sure. I mean, I feel like this first thing just sounds so corny, but just taking advantage of every opportunity, even if it's a little scary. As you know, there's probably a big part of you that wants to do it, but it's like, oh, what if this, or what if that, or what if it's really scary, or I can't do it. But I just try it. I promise. The thought of doing it, I feel like, is way scarier than actually going for it and actually doing it. So I promise you, it'll be worth it. And if it's something you don't end up liking, that's okay. Now you know. So just really push for it. Push for getting involved, for trying every opportunity, doing what you want to do, for sure. And when it comes to leadership, something I've learned is that, sure, leaders can be, I don't know, outspoken and, kind of, I don't know, telling people what to do, but there could also be quiet leaders who just like set an example and kind of show people, I guess, this is how we should go about this situation. So like, leaders don't have to be these big, like, outspoken people. They can be, and that's great. But you can also just be someone that people look up to. That is very much a leader too, and you should be just as proud of that, for sure.
Definitely, definitely. I really like what you said in the beginning about how, kind of taking every opportunity as a learning opportunity, really, right?
For sure.
Like, you may find at that opportunity that you loved it and it was great and it was exactly what you were looking for. You might not, but it was a learning opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah,
For sure.
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, and congratulations again. You've had a wonderful year and a wonderful time here at Bellarmine, and we're so thankful to have had you. Knights, I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and thank you for tuning in. Welcome back, Knights. Ashley Nordman here again, and I'm here with Dr. C. Thank you so much for being here. So to start, why don't you just kind of introduce yourself, talk a little bit about yourself, tell us a little bit about your role on campus.
Thank you for inviting me, first off. I'm Dr. Corrington, or Dr. C. I'm currently in the School of Education. I teach teachers now. I used to teach in JCPS for about 12 years, and then when I transitioned over from my doctoral program here at Bellarmine, I moved into a faculty position. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, thank you. So what did this award kind of mean to you personally? Like, obviously it's a big recognition, a big honor, so tell me a little bit about what that meant to you.
Well, one was the Faculty Impact Award, and one is the Dr. Patricia Carver Award. So I actually won two, which I was totally surprised by. The one about the student nomination, it brought me so much joy, right? Sometimes you don't often know as an educator how students see you and what they think of you, and to know that somebody really sees the work that I am doing to make sure that they are being seen and belonging in the field of education brought me a whole lot of joy. The other one is, who doesn't want the legacy of Dr. Patricia Carver?
Right?
That is such a huge honor and huge award. Dr. Carver is just such an amazing human being, person, woman, and so I love being able to be a part of her legacy and keep doing the work that needs to be done for the students at Bellarmine, the students in K-12 and throughout.
Definitely. As you said, Dr. Carver's a wonderful woman. I mean, just who wouldn't want to carry on that legacy, as you said, and obviously earning that recognition that you got for your hard work with all of the students is amazing. So kind of a little bit more specifically, what kind of achievements or works that you're really proud of do you think that led to you earning these awards?
Sometimes I don't think about it in that way, right? When I think about the work that I'm doing, I do the work because I want to do the work and I know that it means something. But some of the works that I am really proud of is creating the educators of color and allowing students of color to have a space to come and to be in community with each other, because that's going to be really important, not only here at Bellarmine, but in their K-12 settings as well. So being able to provide support and mentorship for these students who are interested in still going into education, which I love.
Yes.
Some of the other works is just being able to show up every day and do the work that needs to be done for our students, our community, or even for the world. Right now, everything seems so heavy in the world, but how do I find joy in the midst of that? And doing this work for students and enjoying my career allows me to love what I do.
Yeah, I love that. There's obviously always a lot of work to be done, whether on the small scale or the larger scale. So it's definitely great that we have people like you who are working on those projects for sure. So you did touch on it a little bit, answering that previous question, but what kind of motivates you to continue your work on campus?
What motivates me is always having a good support system, a good group of friends. So I have support system in the Black faculty and staff. I have my own little circle of friends that I have here that also help support and guide me and keep me motivated. Just allowing to lean on my own community in the midst to keep wanting to do this work. But I also know I've been called to do this work, so I'm going to keep doing the work that I've been called to do, because one, I've been called to do it, and two, I'm passionate about doing the work. So it's been really, really great to just find my own group of people and also teach my students of color to find their group of people too. So I am so forever grateful to my community, you all know who you are, for allowing me to be a part of your lives and allowing you to keep motivating me to do the work that's hard.
Yeah, that's wonderful, and I really agree that community plays such a big part in everything that we do, and it's great that you are teaching younger generations that is still important, to find that community, and you're giving them that space as well, which is so wonderful. So how do you feel that your work kind of as a whole, your role here, how do you think that that really makes an impact on the students here at Bellarmine?
One, it teaches them, I like to teach them things about that it's important to do the work, but it's important to do the work with joy, with love, and rest, right? Mm-hmm. If you are not taking care of yourself, you cannot do the work, which is often hard to do. So I lead by example. So I know that's one way how I make impact. also just reminding myself to, when I am not feeling motivated and encouraged, what does that look like, and how do I show them how to deal with those situations when things are hard, or how to navigate systems that wasn't built for a lot of vulnerable populations. What do you do to help them live in this world but keep doing the work that is so great and brings so much joy? Some other impacts I just think is to just keep inspiring them, for wanting to be in education. Education is really tough right now.
Yes.
It is a hard field to be a part of, but for them to still want to be in education and want to be leaders brings me so much joy, because even with their rigorous schedule, they still volunteer. They're still out in the community. They're still helping students who often don't get the help that they normally get in school. So I hope that whatever I pour into them, that they pour into not only their classrooms, but into themselves and to the community at large, right? It's not like I just don't do work here at Bellarmine. Right. I do work in the community as well. I like work around mentorship and supporting girls or mental health and trauma-informed care. So I do those types of things to help to show them that they can be leaders, not just in their community, but in other communities too.
Definitely, definitely. Again, that community aspect is so important, and I love that you really lead by example, and you're like, this is what real life is going to look like, and this is how you handle it. Because it's nice to have a mentor, someone like you who can kind of lead you through it and prepare you. So again, fabulous work that you are doing. So what advice would you kind of give another faculty member who wants to create a difference for students like you have, kind of create that community sense for other students? So what advice would you kind of give someone that wants to step into a similar role of yours, really?
First, I would ask them to recognize who they are and understand who they are and how they show up, right? 2, recognize if you have any biases, right? We all have them. There's no shame for that, but what are some things that you need to work on that sometimes makes you uncomfortable in order to move in a direction to support and have students feel seen and want safety? 2, not always answer, not to listen to answer, but to truly listen so that a person can feel like they are being received from whatever they're choosing to share. Safety means something for a lot of vulnerable populations, and oftentimes we think that we are doing things that are safe, but we haven't asked the people who are affected by the things that are happening to them if they truly feel safe, loved, and feel a sense of belonging. So I would always say, look at who you are teaching in each class, because everybody is different, and decide how do you build relationships with the students that you are teaching, right? Like, not all the times the students immediately when they first see me, they don't always understand what to do with me. Because for some of our students, they grew up in rural areas, and this is the first time they've ever had a black professor with a higher educational degree, and so sometimes they don't understand how to take that. But my approach is always, okay, let's see and understand who am I teaching, and then how can I make them understand that we are here to work together, and I want to learn something from you, because I don't know everything either, and I want you to learn from me. And we talk about and have difficult conversations, and so sometimes that's very important. Sometimes we assume we know what's best for this current population of students, and we don't, because we don't ask them. And I'm about the mission of asking my students what they need and how we can work together so they can get what they really need in this world. Like, I have some things from the past and the old school, but you all have the future, right? Yes. And those two things have to work together so that everybody can be a better human being at the end of the day.
Definitely, because that's what we all want, right? We want to all be better together.
Yes. So I think it's just listening and learning that, like, our way is not always the right way. And until we understand that, everybody has a story. And until we hear everybody's story and begin to understand where people come from and their stories, we won't be able to move forward, or you will never be able to connect to your students.
Definitely, definitely. I love how you yourself and you also encourage your students to really keep an open mind and inside and outside of the classroom, right? You want to create that relationship so that you can teach them and also learn from them. But then, you want to help them be ready for the outside world as well, and be ready to face those challenges and things that they might be uncertain about, but have an open mind about it and be able to have those hard discussions with things as well. Oh, yes.
For sure. I'm sure you learn multiple lessons every day.
Learned a lot.
Yes. Well, congratulations again, and thank you for all of your hard work at Bellarmine and in our community. It is truly amazing. Thank you again, Knights, for tuning in. I hope you had a great time, learned some